Welcome to the Red Zone, the channel that cuts through the noise and exposes the hidden truths shaping your future. Tonight, we are exposing the greatest act of unintentional economic surrender in modern American history. We're talking about the green energy transition, a massive trillion-dollar policy initiative that, under the guise of climate protection, is fundamentally handing American sovereignty to Beijing. You will see how the relentless drive for electric vehicles and sprawling solar power installations has created a dangerous niche, an entirely unnecessary reliance on China for the very minerals and components vital not just to our civilian life but to our cutting-edge military defense systems. This is not a climate debate. This is a clear and present threat to national security, a strategic betrayal hidden in plain sight. If you believe American industry must remain independent and sovereign, hit the like button now. Subscribe to join the Red Zone and receive every crucial national security alert. Let's get started. The goal to achieve net zero carbon is a political ideal. The practical geopolitical reality, however, is a strategic disaster built on stunning bureaucratic naivete. This massive pivot away from traditional fossil fuels towards electric power has created an immediate, overwhelming, and non-negotiable global demand for rare earth minerals elements like neodymium, dysprosium, praseodymium, and lithium. These materials are the indispensable magnetic core of virtually every advanced technology known to man. They are in your smartphone. They are in the permanent magnets of every large wind turbine generator. They are in the battery packs of every electric car sold today. And most critically, they are in the guidance systems, actuators, and sensor arrays of every advanced US missile system, F-35 fighter jet component, and naval destroyer. The stark, dangerous, and verifiable truth is this: while these minerals are found across the globe, China controls the overwhelming majority, up to 80 to 90% of the world's processing, refining, and manufacturing capacity for these essential elements. We are literally exchanging one form of foreign energy dependence, oil, for a far more insidious and strategically fatal form of dependence: strategic mineral subservience to our primary geopolitical adversary. This is a geopolitical masterstroke achieved by Beijing without firing a single shot. They control the faucet. If political tensions escalate beyond a certain point, China doesn't need to risk a full military confrontation. They simply need to turn off the rare earth supply, and the entire American manufacturing base, along with the US military's ability to replace or repair sophisticated weaponry, grinds to a standstill within months. This is economic warfare disguised as environmental policy, and the vulnerability is total and unacceptable. The policy has created a structural weakness in our defense that is more profound than any single missile system. In the next section, we will expose the specific US military programs now completely hostage to this Chinese supply chain, detail the massive environmental hypocrisy being ignored by Washington, and calculate the true, terrifying hidden cost of this strategic surrender. Do not look away. In the first section, we established the catastrophic strategic error, exchanging oil dependence for strategic mineral subservience to Beijing. Now we dive into the collateral damage and the profound strategic hypocrisy. The reliance on China for rare earth processing and refining is severe, but the problem extends deeper into the manufacturing pipeline, creating an unprecedented crisis for the Pentagon. The reality is that nearly every US military modernization program, from the F-35 Lightning to fighter jet to advanced missile guidance systems and complex radar arrays, requires these Chinese processed components. The Pentagon's own internal reports and public testimonies reluctantly admit that there are often no immediate US alternatives for sourcing these key defense components in the necessary volume and purity, leaving the operational readiness and security of our nation's most advanced weapons entirely hostage to Beijing's political whims. Think about the vulnerability. In the event of a conflict, China does not need to deploy a single ship. They simply impose an embargo on rare earth exports, and the US military's ability to maintain, repair, or replace its most sophisticated assets, the very systems designed to defend Taiwan or the South China Sea, is severely compromised within weeks. This vulnerability is a strategic time bomb placed at the heart of our national defense budget. This is a profound failure of national defense strategy, where a civilian policy decision has been allowed to create a systemic military Achilles heel. And while we face this unprecedented security risk, the ideological hypocrisy driving the green energy push is stunning and morally corrosive. While the US touts a clean energy transition, the initial stages of mining and processing these necessary rare earth minerals are highly destructive and intensely polluting, often involving the use of strong acids and producing massive toxic chemical runoff and radioactive waste. China, specifically regions like Inner Mongolia, bears the vast majority of this environmental damage and waste, allowing American policymakers to claim a clean transition while silently outsourcing the pollution and, crucially, the strategic risk to our adversary. We have accepted a profound global strategic weakness and a massive environmental double standard just to meet domestic political targets and look virtuous on the world stage. The issue is not just rare earths, it's the full electric vehicle EV supply chain. China controls a massive percentage of the world's lithium-ion battery cell, cathode, and anode manufacturing capacity. As the US government rushes its citizens and its massive municipal fleets to replace combustion engines with EVs, we are creating a new, vast, and non-negotiable reliance on Chinese manufacturing hubs. This allows China to not only dictate global pricing, quality standards, and supply flow, but, potentially, to build in technological vulnerabilities or kill switches into the very vehicles American citizens and corporations depend on. We are building the entire future of American transportation and the US power grid on a foundation of Chinese economic control and technological access. This massive strategic error is the single biggest oversight by the military-industrial complex and the current administration. In the next section, we will reveal the 3 immediate, non-negotiable steps the US must take to rebuild its strategic independence, and close this crippling gap, and expose the single most dangerous hidden clause within the green energy legislation that guarantees China's long-term dominance. The truth must be demanded. The truth must be demanded. We have diagnosed the disaster, a policy driven by domestic political gain that has created disastrous and potentially fatal geopolitical consequences. The time for political maneuvering is over. To reclaim strategic independence from Beijing and secure the American future, the US must execute a precise 3-step counterplan, starting immediately. First, strategic onshoring of mining and processing. Washington must immediately classify rare earth mineral processing and battery component manufacturing as a core, non-negotiable national defense industry. This requires massive, long-term public-private investment to expedite mining, refining, and manufacturing facilities on US soil and among only the most trusted strategic allies like Australia or Canada, regardless of the short-term cost. We must end the 90% dependence within the decade. We must rebuild our industrial base, not for profit, but for survival. Second, mandate military supply chain decoupling. The Pentagon must be legally required with severe punitive penalties for non-compliance to diversify its component sources for every major weapons system. This mandate must use massive government contracts and targeted subsidies to force defense contractors to immediately build secure, non-Chinese supply chains, with a strict 5-year deadline for full compliance. This is a matter of forcing accountability back into the defense establishment. Third, aggressive investment in substitution technology. We must aggressively fund and prioritize research into alternative battery technologies and substitute materials that entirely eliminate the need for these. Chinese-dominated rare earths. Innovation must become our most powerful shield against dependency and the only way to escape Beijing's economic leverage. These steps are not optional. They are a matter of national sovereignty and the survival of our military readiness. The vulnerability created by the green energy push is the single greatest structural weakness in the American supply chain since the strategic resource challenges faced during World War II. But the greatest danger is yet to be revealed. We uncovered the most dangerous hidden clause, the intellectual property surrender. Many key green energy agreements and massive subsidy programs buried deep within legislative texts inadvertently or deliberately include provisions that require the forced transfer of sensitive American technological know-how, blueprints and manufacturing expertise to foreign partners, often Tiongkok, in exchange for guaranteed market access or manufacturing capacity. This is the final, unforgivable surrender, giving away our future innovation and technological superiority just to meet short-term political and climate goals. This policy has unwittingly created an economic sword hanging over America's head, wielded by our primary adversary, and now we are voluntarily handing them the sharpening stone. You have been informed. Now you must demand action from your representatives to prioritize national security over political optics. and to immediately audit all green energy legislation for these dangerous IP surrender clauses. We are the only platform giving you the unfiltered truth about the forces eroding American power. What do you believe is the single biggest threat of this green energy dependence? Sound off in the comments below. Hit that like button if you demand American independence and security, and subscribe to Red Zone for continuous, unfiltered analysis that defends your future. We are the Red Zone. Thank you for watching.